Alright, yeah, welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we're going to be playing some Explorer again. It's my favourite format. I will apologise. I really just enjoy this place so much that we're going to be playing some brand new cards as well. We're going to be playing around with the namesake card of the deck. It's going to be a Fight Rigging deck. 3 mana enchantment with Hideaway 5. So when this enters the battlefield, you look at the top 5 cards of your library, and you exile one of them face down, and then the rest go at the bottom in a random order. And at the beginning of your upkeep, you put a 1/1 counter on a creature you control. Then, if you have a creature with 7 power or greater, you can play the exiled card from under Fight Rigging without paying its mana cost. So this is what we're going to be doing. So how are we going to do that? Well, in Explorer, we've got a couple of options. We've got Shakedown Heavy from New Capenna, not the greatest card in the world, but it is a 3 mana 6/4, which is just wonderful for the curve. When it attacks, defending player may have you draw a card. If they do, untap it and remove it from combat. So it's not ideal. We also have Rotting Regisaur as well, with another downside, a 3 mana 7/6 that says at the beginning of your upkeep, discard a card. So why are we running these cards with such obvious downsides to them? Well, not only are they cheap and large creatures that can hit quite heavily, but they also allow us to play into Fight Rigging. If we have a creature with power 7 or greater, we get to cast a card for free under Fight Rigging. So when it puts a counter on Shakedown Heavy, that triggers Fight Rigging for the first time, which is amazing, and then we get a free card. We also have Regisaur here, which already has 7 power, so it goes up to 8, and then we get to play a card for free. So we got to ask ourselves, what cards are we playing for free, and do we have some doozies for you today? Some cards that you might not have seen in a long time, and some cards that don't see too much play, but get to do some cool stuff. Well, our options are this pile right here. So we've got Valki, God of Lies, with the other side being Tibalt, Cosmic Imposter. So Valki enters the battlefield, and each opponent reveals their hand, and for each opponent, exile a creature card they revealed until Valki leaves the battlefield, and then you can pay X to turn it into the card with the same mana value. So if you take a Paradise Druid, which is an example from today's video, you can pay 2 to turn Valki into a Paradise Druid. But that's not the greatest hit off of Fight Rigging. Funnily enough, it says you can cast it without paying its mana cost, which means you can cast Tibalt, Cosmic Imposter for free. We're actually going to be going with that side. As Tibalt enters the battlefield, you get an emblem with you may play cards exiled with Tibalt, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any colour to cast those spells. It starts with 5 loyalty, which is insane, ticks up by 2, which again is insane. Going up to 7 loyalty on the turn it comes down is huge. You exile the top card of each player's library, and even while Tibalt is gone, you can still cast those cards. You also get a -3 to exile target artifact or creature, and then you can exile all graveyards and add red mana. Remember, whenever we exile anything with Tibalt, then Tibalt gets to cast those spells. So the -3 is kind of like a remove an artifact or creature, draw a card that just so happens to be that artifact or creature. And then the -8 is exile all graveyards, and then you can cast any card out of the graveyard, and you even get some red mana to play with as well. So that's kind of like the best thing that we can hit off of our Fight Rigging is a Tibalt, Cosmic Imposter on, I think as early as turn 3 we can get that down with the Nut Draw, since we've got the Llanowar Elves and Gilded Geese to play these on turn 2. Then turn 3 comes along, and we get to play the other one. We have Turn Timber Symbiosis, which is a land, but also a sorcery on its front side that lets us look at the top 7 cards of our library and put a creature card from among them onto the battlefield. If that card has mana value 3 or less, it enters with an additional 3 counters on it. So this becomes a, what was it, a 9/7, and you know this gets 3 counters on it as well. Becoming a 10/9. But also, we can hit Golter, Primal Hunger, 12 mana, 12/12. Costs X less to cast, where X is the total power of creatures you control, and has Trample, which is really good against Cat Oven decks, because they love to block and sack and invalidate your combat. They can't do that with Golter, so it makes it a really good option. If you don't have any Golters, you could also use Titan of Industry as well. That would be a good option. That one would allow you to make a 7 mana 7/7 that makes a 4/4. or it could destroy an artifact and enchantment. Certainly an option. I like Golter, just because it has the big body, and that often does quite a fair amount for us. And then we also have the Great Henge as well, a 9-mana legendary artifact that gets cost reduced a similar way to Golter, except for this is the greatest power among creatures you control. So it can get up to 7 cost reduction, which, fun fact, is what we want to be doing with our deck. Rotting Regisaur makes Great Henge 2 mana, and that's awesome. It adds 2 green mana then from that point, making it effectively free for the turn. We gain 2 life, and then whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under our control, we get to put a 1/1 counter on it and draw a card. The majority of our deck is creatures. Valky's a creature, Golter's a creature, Elves are creatures, Gildagoose a creature, Shakedown Heavy's a creature, Rotting Regisaur's a creature, so all of this, that's our creature to non-creature pile. It's pretty damn even, so there's a 50-50 chance, basically, of our spells being creatures that redraw off of Great Henge. So oftentimes you'll find that once you've got your Regisaur down with your Great Henge, you're not really going to discard down to 0, so you're often going to have plenty of options. Final thing we're going to mention as far as discarding down to 0 is concerned, we have Obnixilis, the Adversary. Really good card for this deck. 3 mana, 3 loyalty with Casualty X. So Casualty is sacrifice a creature, and equal to its power X, we're going to get an Obnixilis with that much loyalty. So if we sacrifice a Golter to Obnixilis, we're going to get an Obnixilis with 12 loyalty for 3 mana. And what can we do with 12 loyalty? We can -7 to make target player draw 7 cards and lose 7 life. That could either be us drawing 7 cards to establish a victory-based condition there that we have overwhelming card advantage, or if our opponent is lower than 7 life, which will often happen with our opponent taking hits from Shakedown Heavies and Regisaurs and Golters, then we can use that to target our opponent instead, make them lose 7, and lose the game that way. It's awesome. We got 4 copies of removal. I haven't really decided which one's better yet. We've got Infernal Grasp to destroy a creature and lose 2 life, and then we've got Heartless Act to destroy creatures with no counters on them, or to remove up to 3 counters from a creature. Undecided which one's better at the moment, but they're here specifically just to kill Greasefang, so both of them realistically will work against Greasefang. It's just what use will they be outside of that particular matchup. I think I'm leaning towards Heartless Act being the better option, because I think the life loss is kind of relevant for our deck. But who knows? You really don't want to find yourself up against creatures that have a shield counter on them or anything like that for Heartless Act. It's really annoying. But yeah, that's going to do it for the deck tech. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. If you do, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more content like this in the future. And without further ado, let's get to it. This video is brought to you by the generous support of our wonderful patrons and channel members that you see here. If you'd like to support the channel and get access to cool content like sneak peeks, bonus videos, polls on future content, or access to a personal deck critique from myself every month, then hit the join button down below, or check out the Patreon link in the description. With all that said, let's get into the gameplay. Alrighty then, we're in, and we've got... it's a hand. It's a good hand. Debatable, I suppose. I'm going to keep it, though, on the draw. Turn 1 Gilded Goose leads into turn 2 Shakedown Heavy. Ketria Triumph for our opponents, so they're probably on fires with Agent of Treachery, I guess. It's typically what that means. Can bolt the bird. Yep. Ooh, we got the fight rigging. Let's go Tybalt, or Valky in this case, and see what else they're playing with. Give us some good information here. Alright, well, it looks like it's an Adventures deck. This is the only reason to play Beanstalk Giant. And not really much I can do here. If I take one Stomp, they use the other, so I'm just going to take the Beanstalk Giant and force them to Stomp, rather than giving them options. They might not care about the other Stomp, and they might want to just ramp, so now they don't really have a choice. It's all about not giving your opponent choice. So now we're going to go fight rigging. Boseiju could be good when they get the Lucky Clover. I'm gonna shock for the fight rigging, so I get to keep my Boseiju. Interesting. So our opponent will have Brazen Borrower. I've got to keep that in mind. I think for that reason, I'm gonna go Great Henge. Because that should hopefully, if I tap my mana correctly, let me go Shakedown Heavy into Regisaur off of the Great Henge. Okay, so they got Lovestruck Beast. Drew another land, that's good. Alright, so I'm gonna go, I think, Shakedown Heavy to get the counter. But not tap like that. Our deck wants us to lose. So tap like that. Get the counter. Get the Great Henge. Play Rotting Regisaur. Draw a card. This should hopefully undo all of Regisaur's discarding here. Get rid of Turn Timber Symbiosis, I think. 4, 5, 6. Oh, maybe not, actually. Maybe get rid of Llanowar Elves. Or Boseiju. I don't really know, actually. That's a tough one. This is a guaranteed redraw. This will probably get me a Golter that redraws. Opponent's creatures are big, but mine are bigger. Alright, so what's the plan then? I think we're past... it's probably Llanowar Elves. Yeah, we'll just go for a Turn Timber off the Boseiju here. Get the Golter, 13/13, that draws me a card. Got a Forest to discard off the Rotting Regisaur. Let's go Shakedown Heavy here. And then attack. Force some blocks. So they can do a double block on the heavy, or they can do the heavy thing. Okay, they're not going to let me draw a card. So that's Regisaur dead, and 8 damage coming at them. That's totally fine. I'm not discarding anymore. Our opponent just did us a favour. Now I've got a menacing 8/6 and a 14/14 because of the fight rigging. With Trample. And you've got some 4/3s. I mean, you do have a pretty big Beanstalk Giant, but I'm going to force it to block. Right now it's already trading. So gain some life, draw a card. Get an Obnixilis, that wins me the game. The game's over now. Because I can make our opponent draw 7 and lose 7. So they're going to take that out of combat. Going to block what they think is just enough. But then we end the game with Casualty. For the lulz, let's go Golter. And how's about you draw 7? Yes, please. Would I like to win the game? Yes or no? Are you kidding me? Then they get to see what they would have top decked. A luxury I wish I had sometimes. Awesome. That's just textbook this deck right here. Very nice indeed, very nice. And on to the next one. Alrighty then, we're in, and we've got a turn 3 fight rigging, oh boy. Yeah, we're going to keep this hand. I think it will function. It's a little bit awkward we don't have a turn 1 Llanowar Elves though, so we could draw a Forest and that'd be great, right? Okay, we could draw whatever our opponent's about to take from us and that'll be alright, right? What would I take? I think I would take... It's either Llanowar Elves or fight rigging. Yeah, I mean... I wasn't exactly going to race towards fight rigging with Llanowar Elves. This is a bit of an odd one. Ah. Okay, we're dead next turn. Unless this Infernal Grasp resolves. There's Greasefang. There goes Greasefang. Alright, I have bought myself a turn, probably, until they reanimate it. Ooh, Valky. Don't mind if I just did. Alright, that's pretty huge. We just avoided dying. Alright. What's next? Deadly Dispute on Stitcher's Supplier. So the digging for Can't Stay Away, I guess? Is that maybe in their deck? Could also just find copies 3 and 4 of Greasefang or a removal spell. Okay, well, this game just doesn't exist for me. It's hard to win the game when you're not allowed to play the game. Faithful Mending. Yeah, they're literally just a Greasefang or a reanimation spell or even a removal spell away from winning here. Another Faithful Mending from the graveyard this time. Come on, land drop. Parhelion and land, okay. And there's a Stitcher Supplier. Come on. Alright, they just drew a card. They did mill a removal spell that would have gotten them Greasefang, so that could be pretty good for us. That's a pretty reasonable sign. By the way, I'm not allowed to play the game. This is fun. Alright, our opponent gets more time to dig out of this. Imagine if we'd have actually drawn a third land here, we'd have actually won the game. Like, I'm pretty confident that that's the case. Like, these 4 cards technically don't exist, but I only really need Fight Rigging to hit with a Rotting Regisaur. And the game is mine. But, yeah, not allowed to do that. Alright, draw 2. Have you found your third Greasefang yet, or a March of Otherworldly Light? I'm assuming this is March, because they are delaying here. And if they do find the March, then I have to top deck Infernal Grasp or Heartless Act instead of the land that I need. Hilariously. I would take Rotting Regisaur here, I think. Yep. Okay, so I need one of those. Shocks in for the Faithful Mending. Oh my goodness, we drew a card. Time to play the game, chat. Time to play the game. We didn't... Well, he actually hit a Valky. Alright, that's pretty good. I am not going to offer up a mill for Stitcher Supplier here. Although maybe I should, because they're actually digging for Greasefang predominantly, or March of Otherworldly Light, I would assume, and none of those are that good in the graveyard right now. Ah, they win. Okay. And that's that. Yeah. It'd be nice if this deck didn't exist. I mean, say what you will about the Winota ban, but if you don't ban this deck, then banning Winota's pointless. Because this deck is arguably just as bad. Well, it's not even arguably. There's no real debate about it. This deck is just as bad for the format. Yeah, I mean, now I lose. On to the next one. Alrighty then, we're in, and we have turn 1 Gilded Goose, which could lead to turn 2 Fight Rigging. If we draw a land, I'm gonna take my chances on that, I think. So let's go turn 1 Gilded Goose. Worst case, I can just play the Proving Ground and pass. Goose obviously not as good as Llanowar Elves in this scenario, but here we are. Swamp Thoughtseize, okay. Well, I think I would take Fight Rigging. So this could be Greasefang again, it could be Rakdos mid-range, Lull. Alright, pass the turn. Not going to play Valky out. Don't think I need to. Alright, it is maybe John's Sacrifice. So I want to draw a third land here, because if I use Gilded Goose for mana, not that I could, that would be awkward. Alright, skip a land drop. This is going good for us today, isn't it? Probably should have played Valky, actually. Try and hit Mayhem Devil. Trail of Crumbs. Maybe it's just a green-black version. I don't know. Is that a thing? Is green-black only a thing? Okay. Right, well, let's play this card just to see what their hand looks like. I'm sure Valky won't live very long here. Nope, will not live very long at all. Alright, dead on end step. Assuming you want to kill it. Fatal Push isn't good against the rest of my hand, so... Uh-huh. So they could play a Wolf here. It's only a 3/3, could fight as a 4/4, and it's still not really gonna do that much. I guess it could kill a Shakedown Heavy. Alright, gonna start the Trail of Crumbs nonsense. It's Witch's Oven. Everybody loves a cat oven. Do you have the cat? Only one unknown in hand. Haven't played the land drop this turn, so... the Overgrown Tomb's still left to be played. Alright, we got perfect information. Okay, tap land. This is going about as well as I'd expect. Alright. The good news is, though, we've got Fight Rigging, which, as long as it hits a good thing, will be going off next turn. Or the turn after, I guess. Our opponent isn't in that great of a position to make that a bad thing. Alright, the lands are flowing now. Now that I don't need the lands to flow, they are certainly flowing. Hideaway 5. Let's see, what's our best card we can hit here? Another Fight Rigging or an Ob Nixilis? I guess I'll take another Fight Rigging. Try and go off better. Because that was not ideal. Alright, make some food. Gonna do nothing again? I would have personally gone for Gilded Goose add mana and seen if I could hit anything. Does it only hit, yeah, it reveals permanents. I don't know why they didn't do that. It's not as if the wolf has flash or anything. Alright, so let's start with a Shakedown Heavy. Go with the ones that don't make me discard. So, power 7 or greater, we get a Fight Rigging here. Boom. Hideaway 5, come on, hit something good. That's a tough one. Is it Golter or is it Tybalt? I feel like it's got to be Tybalt. Yeah, let's go Tybalt. Tybalt's cooler. I don't know if our opponent would have a hard removal spell, and maybe I should be going more aggressive, but where's the fun in that? I like Tybalt more than I like Golter, just in general, so... pick the one I like more, just in general, please. Alright, they've got Cat Oven established. Unfortunately for them, I'm going to have a lot of cards if they don't go with this wolf. So they have to go wolf here. They've got to crack both the food tokens. Is that how that works? Or are you just choosing not to fight? You got to sack via this, right? Yeah, you do. Oops. I guess that's an oops. Do you want to scoop now, or do you want to scoop later? Yeah, there it is. Whoops. Alright, fun fact, we're going to be able to ult an Obnixilis this turn. I'm just going to kill their creature to undo the terrible decision that they made. Deal. And miss out on all that value. Uh-huh. No food left over, so I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna murder the crap out of that thing. So, let's see. We're gonna go with, I guess, another shakedown heavy. Doesn't really matter how we pay for this. Oh, it absolutely did matter how we paid for this. Oops. I can oopsie too, alright, chat? It's fine. We're gonna get a Tybalt Cosmic Imposter and our opponent's going to cry.
So you've seen through my disguise.
Alright. Yeah, I don't know why he asked me and then made the wrong decision. Would you like to make the wrong decision? Ooh, yes, please. I'll eat that Wicked Wolf. Oh! Mistakes were made. I meant to click through all of the things on the stack and then play my Rotting Regisaur. Oh dear. Well, let's see if they've got the awareness to notice that Hive could kill my Tybalt right now. They certainly do. Alright. Not the end of the world, chat. We're going to draw 7 cards. But mistakes were definitely made here. Yeah, this match has been all kinds of wrong from everyone here today. So I'm gonna go start with Rotting Regisaur, making sure that I can cast my Obnixilis. It wants to do the exact same thing again. That's what I want. Thank you very much. Then we're gonna stick some counters on some stuff. What about... Do I want to diversify my counters? I think I'm gonna put 1 counter on Regisaur and 1 counter on Heavy. That way, when I sack the Regisaur to Obnixilis, I have 2 Obnixili. They can do their thing. They're going to take 9 here. What a mess this game has been. So, black, red, whatever. Stick it on red, I guess. Obnixilis. Cast with Casualty. I'm actually going to get rid of the Shakedown Heavy, because this one can be taken out of combat and Regisaur can't. So, very large Obnixilis, please. Start by drawing 7 cards.
Morality. All that matters is power. This is my only.
Lovely jubbly.
And you will take it.
And let's make a devil. That way I can block the hive.
My goons will make quick work of you.
Not the best selection of cards, but it's got a Golter in it and a hard castable Valky. Let's just kind of see if we're dead, though. Suppose that is the real question. Gonna be able to gain some life, though, if we keep our Devil token around. Okay, they've got the Wicked Wolf that can go up to 6 power. But getting rid of the Devil token here does mean I don't gain the life. Ping you. So no hive this turn. My Golter costs 1 more now. It's total mana, right? Total power, yeah. There's Golter with total power, and then there's Great Henge with the greatest power. So you gotta remember which one's which. Okay, Meathook Massacre adds to the drain here. Not ideal. I'm gonna discard the Blood Crypt. Get a Heartless Act. Alright, so I can deal 4 damage with my Obnixili. I'm just thinking, how do I lose? And I think I lose via Cauldron Familiar doing its nonsense. So I could make a Devil and then tick up with Obnixilus so that I can gain the life that way. But also got the food token. I think it's correct to make the Devil token here. So I can then gain some life. It's also going to cost reduce the Golter, so that's quite good as well. How much do you... 3, 6, 7... So let's make the Devil token a little bit bigger, I suppose. Swing for 8, so our opponent can do their block and sack nonsense. Yeah. They're going to have a little bit of trouble blocking and sacking through a Golter, though, so that's kind of my hope here. Is that that will get me where I need to go. Whether or not that's the case is to be figured out at a later date. I think keeping food tokens around is probably a good idea for that reason, then. They cost 2 to sack, so I could play Gilded Goose here, and I've got myself 6 life to play with. So I'm at a virtual 16 with a trampling Golter that will be attacking for 14 next turn. Plus everything around it as well. So I think I'm fairly well insulated from dying here. After our opponent's mistakes and our own countering those mistakes, it's back to an even playing field. Okay. Not going to bring it back now. Another Trail of Crumbs. So I'm definitely blocking the Wicked Wolf with the Gilded Goose if I'm given the chance, because I might end up having to need to do that. It's currently attacking for 6 if they really want it to. Probably even more than that. Digging for good answers. I mean, Witch's Oven's up there with good answers. Is it good enough of an answer, though? Considering I have food tokens to play with. And when do I crack the food tokens? Because I don't want to get stuck into a have to crack it at last possible moment kind of scenario where our opponent can do something in response to kill me. So I'm really wanting our opponent's trail of crumbs to tap them out, so I've got that perfect information to play with. Another oven. Oh god. I think this is okay though. Because now they can't pay the 1 to get more. They can't cast that wolf. I think now I'll just have a safety net of cracking this food. Up to 9. And I should just win the game now. I mean, they are going to gain a lot of life, mind you, but... There's a witch's oven. I think I want to play the Heartless Act on the Wicked Wolf when I can. God, they got so much food. Because when I tap it with the Heartless Act, it's going to be tapped out for combat, which means one of these non-trampling creatures potentially gets through here. Well, to be honest, I'm feeling that safety net issue of let's just fire off this food now. Let our opponent do their thing. I'm up to 10. Can you kill me from 10? No, I don't think so. So, I really wanted to Heartless Act on their turn so that I could play Tybalt and then minus on something, but I don't think it would have made a big difference, to be perfectly honest. Because the only thing I would have minused on really would be a Cauldron Familiar that then gets sacked and re-enters. So I've got Golter, which is going to attack for 14. 15, 16 with the Obnixilis. They'll probably block here. So I've not quite got them dead, I don't think. Oh no, they block here. So there's something to be said about this. I also have Lair of the Hydra as well. So I think I could probably eke out a win here. But if I were our opponent, unless they already know and they've done the math and they know that they're dead on board, I wouldn't have scooped there because I think it's quite close nonetheless. But yeah, punts on both ends there, and we took the victory nonetheless because better lucky than good, I suppose. On to the next one. Okay, we're in. This is a tough one. We can clear the way potentially with Valky, play Shakedown Heavy, which cost reduces Golter. So this is actually a turn 3, 2, 3, 4 curve, I think. My math is correct. Which I would hope it is. Breeding Pool. So let's get this on red. Let's Valky. Have a look at our opponent's hand. We want to just try and get any removal creatures. What on earth is going on here? The Wandering Emperor is really bad for our Golters, unfortunately. I guess I'm just going to take the Paradise Druid. I actually turn my Valky into a Paradise Druid. For 2 mana, it's basically a 1 mana discount at that point. They top deck another. And an Obnixilis for us. So I can play the Takenuma. I could pay 2 to have a Valky, but then it's just 2 mana. So let's go Shakedown Heavy instead. And I don't think I'm offering the trade here. I think our opponent is going to go Deputy Detention my Shakedown Heavy, which is going to be awkward for sure. Because if they don't, I get Golter, so really no choice for them. Much rather that be the case than them having instant access to Wandering Emperors, though. Okay. I think the plan is to go tap land, pay 2, turn this into a Paradise Druid, and pass. I'm hoping I draw a big creature. That works. Kill the Deputy. Get my 6/4 back. then I get to go... I could go Great Henge or I could go Obnixilis. Let's... Obnixilis close to ulting. Probably wins me the game if it resolves. I'm gonna go Great Henge though. Because that'll set up Golta into Obnixilis. Which I think has the potential to be more powerful. Okay, they are going to Beseiju my Great Henge. Pretty smart call. I do get my Proving Ground though. Alright. And then I basically still get to do the exact same thing, which is Golta, casualty the Golta, ult one Obnixilis on myself. Oh, you didn't let me draw the rest of my cards! Where you going? Aw, that's no fair. Alright, well our opponent was a little bit mana screwed there, but we kind of helped them along with that, so I don't feel so bad. We did it intentionally on them. But yeah, that's fight rigging for you. Secretly very powerful, except for against Greasefang, as it turns out. But yeah, that's going to do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed, and if you have, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more content like it in the future. And without further ado, gonna end it off here. Take care, and peace.